I would like to share a story. Before I met Jesse, I was foretold that I would meet him. I was foretold that I would meet this person at a festival that I threw with a really close friend of mine in Mount Shasta. And there was this woman who was there, an oracle, and on the last night of the festival, she pulled me aside and basically, we had a moment together. And she started to tell me that in 3 months' time, I would meet a gentleman who was going to be really important to me, and that this person would potentially be a husband or some kind of really close ally in my life. And that in that moment, I had to pray for him, and I had to send positive energy to this person. So I was open-minded to it, like, okay, maybe this lady knows what she's talking about, maybe she doesn't, but I'm here and open to this experience, so we did that together. And no joke, 3 months, almost to the day, Jesse comes into my life, and we basically went on our first date at a concert together to see Rising Appalachia. And that night was pretty much the spark that sparked the rest of our relationship. So that coming into the relationship in that way, with that magic, was really prevalent throughout the rest of our relationship. And I definitely felt the entire time that we were together that the connection we had was beyond this reality and really, really strong. And I still feel that now. So I had the fortune to communicate with Jesse recently through a teacher of mine, and there were a few things he wanted me to share with all of you that he wanted you to know. He wanted me to share how he felt that he led his life and how he felt that he walked his life every day. Basically, he allowed Spirit to guide him on a daily basis to know where to show up. And if you know Jesse, you know that he was the kind of person who was always out and about, wandering around on his skateboard, playing with flow props or out in the woods. And seeing so many people here, he was a really sociable guy. So he may have looked like a wandering fool to some people, and that was his role to play. His role to play on this life was an earthling channeling spirit being led from one place to the next, like the Fool card in the tarot. And another thing that he wanted me to share was for anyone who had the pleasure to receive a skull or a feather or a crystal or any kind of other earth object from him, he would like any of you who received those things to make a mental offering of gratitude to the earth in this moment. So if any of you were receiving any of these gifts of his, now would be a good time to really just drop in, give thanks to the earth.
Dropping in, giving thanks to the earth. Thank you, Jesse, for being who you are. We love you. You're with us.
Thank you for that very clear showing of gratitude, Rod. I was actually with him the day that he realized that he was frequently taking these earth objects without making offerings and without offering gratitude. So basically, he wants all of these pieces that he has to be blessed and in balance with sacred reciprocity. He also wanted me to mention Jesus, the driver who he hit with the RV, who is currently recovering in the hospital. He wants to give a lot of love to Jesus and to request that everyone here give a few moments of prayer for his healing as well. And I want to say that so far he is stable, and they believe that he will survive. He also wanted to share that he saw friendship like learning to walk a slack line. You know how when you're learning to walk a slack line and you need to have that one friend to hold your hand to keep your balance? He saw friendship like that. Basically asking, can you walk with me this far so I have support? And he invites all of you to do that here for each other. I personally felt that this platform would be a really good time to share some truth that I recently read that I found to be really powerful. And I'm going to share that with you now. as a trauma response to those who rewarded you with love and punished you through avoidance or abandonment, it is common to have developed this same subconscious framework. It is done as a primal way of trying to feel more connected to those who offer inconsistent feedback instead of the unconditional love you so deeply craved. It's as if the subconscious mind decides, if I can't be loved more by them, then I'll be one with their love by being more like them. Once this occurs, you may have an orbiting tendency to reward the behavior of others with positive, nurturing attention, while justifying avoidant, cold, or callous responses to the actions not meeting the standard of your highest value. While this pattern is how many believe they keep themselves safe, it is an unconscious way of being that equally reinforces the identity of your earliest wounding and only creates a space of safety for the vibration of fear to be preserved. On a quantum level, allowing your ego to derive a false sense of security from its need to control reality through reactions of reward and behavior continually instructs the quantum field to keep bringing you disturbing reflections. So your ego always has something to decide what is worthy of rewarding or punishing. As more and more human beings free themselves from the enslavement of subconscious conditioning through a path of self-love, each person becomes even more naturally discerning with their energy and clearer in their boundaries, but with no one to either reward or punish for the overwhelming grief, anxiety, hardship, and despair that causes human suffering to be spread through abuse, domination, abandonment, and neglect. As a greater percentages of humanity learn to love themselves as entry points into a more interconnected reality of liberated existence, there remain less and less people to reward or punish each other. In the absence of reward or punishment, there becomes no need for anyone's ego to demonstrate its false perception of power. In doing so, all misuses of power existing throughout the world begin dissolving off the face of the earth, simply because there is no longer a collective vibrational match for such atrocious behavior, now that human beings begin to see how their once deeply ingrained insistence on punishing unconscionable behavior did more to subconsciously support the existence of that atrocity than to help bring it to an end. This may help you see the path of self-love as one of the many crucial ways of co-creating individual and collective evolutionary progress, as a steadfast companion to the affirmative actions equally needing to be made on a regular basis throughout each community. It may also help you see how those insisting to fight against anything in view are not really fighting for the purity of truth, but using a well-intended cause to maintain a false sense of power by rewarding those who agree with them and punish those who don't. Suffice it to say, if any human being is truly yearning for inner freedom in a peaceful world that equally serves the needs, aspirations, and desires of all, then they will fight for truth and freedom instead of fighting against the perception of opposing forces. This occurs by bringing the vibration of love more actively into the quantum field, which makes it more available for all to receive the more your heart is loved. And I just want to say I love you, Jessie, with all my heart, and thank you all for being here.